had this little camping axe for probably over 30 years now, and last year I broke the handle on it, and I've been searching online for, trying to find a replacement handle that's the same size and would fit, and I just could not locate anything. It's kind of like a 19-inch handle. It's in between. So I decided to, make my own, just try. So this video is basically about my first attempt at making an axe handle. So the first thing I did is, I didn't have any hickory. I just had some ash that I cut in my backyard, so I figured I'd try that. They make baseball bats out of it, so I'm hoping it'll stand up for a while. If not, I'll always get hickory and make another one. But first thing I did is I just traced the profile of the existing handle that broke, and then I just put the axe head on there to get a location for the piece that extends up there that broke off. And pretty much this was a pretty easy thing. I just make an exact copy, and then I took it over to the bandsaw. Once I had it traced out, and I just, cut it out and brought it back to my bench there. And I had this spoke shave that used to be my dad's, and it's just been sitting in the drawer for years, and I've never used it. So I decided to take that out and, sharpen it up a little bit and just see what I could do with it here. And I'll actually, once I got the blade adjusted properly, it really did do a good job, and I was able to just take a little bit at a time off, and you really have to be careful which way the grain's going and whatnot, because it'll tear into it. But I just was able to just scrape the wood and start rounding it out just like the old handle was, and turned out it was pretty easy. And most of the time I work with power tools, so this is kind of, one of the first thing with hand tools I've done, and it really turns out to be pretty relaxing and quiet and everything else while you're doing it. So this turned into being, one of those little fun jobs in the end. So I just kept going back and forth with the spoke shave, and I didn't really have anything good to clamp it down with. I just clamped it to the edge of my bench there, so things moved around a little bit, and it made it a little bit tougher. But you can see I was able to start getting the profile in there pretty good, and start getting it to pretty close to the shape of the original one that was on there, the original handle that was on there. And it turned into, like I said, a pretty fun job, just going over a little bit at a time. And it's funny, in the end, I think I actually had less time in making this handle than the amount of time that I spent online just trying to search and find a handle that was even close to this one. Pretty much the closest ones were like 24-inch long boys axe handles, they called them, and this one was just kind of an in-between one with a weird eye on it. So I just kept going over it and just flipping it, and I think I spent probably a good 45 minutes getting the handle shape roughed out with this little spoke shave. And there you can see it's starting to look kind of like an axe hand. I mean, it still needs some more sanding and filing and finishing up, but the shape's starting to come to, and just a little bit more shaping. And then I took it to my little Harbor Freight belt sander that I bought last year, and this is one of my best buys, I think, for the $39 that I spent on it. It just makes it really easy to go back and just start cleaning up and blending everything together to get the proper shape and feel and everything of the handle. So I put a 80 grit belt on it and just started going back and forth over it with just kind of light pressure on it so I wouldn't gouge it or take too much. And you can see it really is starting to shape up a little bit better there. So this it really is not that big a deal making a handle, I'm finding out now. And there you see I drew the eye shape on the end of it there, and I'm just trying to get that pretty close to what it should be. And it's starting to feel pretty good, and I think it's starting to look pretty good. And I to get things really blended good and rounded, take some hand sanding. I started out with like 60 grit, and that really will remove a lot of stock and get things blended good. And then, once I got the handle pretty close to shape, I went back to the eye and just made it so that the eye was the right size to start in the axe head. And once I did that, I just went back over, and I've got some of these big old rasp files that I used one of them to do the final shaping on the top of the handle that goes in the eye. And it's nice because it'll cut a nice square shoulder. It cuts on two sides. And then once you get it roughed in, you just flip it over, and there's a little bit finer mill file on the other side that will help you do the final shaping. Now when you're using files, you always should have one of these things they call a file card, I guess, and that just cleans the sawdust out of the grooves and makes it cut better and take less effort to file. So a little bit of filing, and I got the handle pretty much down to the right shape. It's a little bit loose now because I still have to cut a wedge to go in there and lock it in place. But basically I got the fit down pretty good, and now I'm just going to go back and do a little bit more final sanding and blending on the handle just to get rid of all the little nicks and bad spots and things that I messed up, and decided to just hit the head too so I could go back and paint that. So I got the handle, a little bit of the final blending has to be done by hand too to get everything nice and smooth. And then I had to take the top of the handle there and split that for the wedge. So I just took it to the bandsaw and I put a cut right down to that sheet there and got that ready to go. And there's pretty much how it fits and what it looks like. It looks like it came out real nice, and time to put it on. Now the original one was there was a wedge I cut out of some hard maple too. Now the original one was held on by epoxy, it looked like, so I had some of this Loctite epoxy that I got at my dollar store, and it's nice. They get all these inventory closeouts from like Lowe's and Home Depot and stuff, so you pick up tubes of this stuff for like 50 cents or $1 all the time. So that's a good source for this kind of thing. And never used one of these epoxies that mixed in the that tip there. So you just put the tip on, and supposedly as you push the epoxy out, it mixes it, and you could see it going through there and squirreling through there and kind of mixing itself up. So it did mix pretty good. So I put a little epoxy on the handle where it was going in, and then once I got a coat around there, I went back and I put a little bit up inside the head of the axe just to have something to push forward in there. And I figured since they had originally used, some kind of a cement like this, that I'd do it again this way. So kind of push that on and, get rid of some of the extra epoxy. And later on, I'm going to go back and fill that top in flush. It's down about 30 thousandths right now, which is how the original one was. So I got that on there, put the epoxy in, and then just put the wedge in there. And it's just, drive that in with a dead blow hammer and make sure the head's on there tight. Give it a couple taps on the other end. Then I just took a handsaw and just, hacked that off roughly to get that off. And then went back to the little belt sander to just kind of flush everything up there. There you can see, it's kind of, I'm getting that all just, cleaned down flush. And then I did go back and I smoothed some epoxy over that top there like they had done originally from the factory to fill everything in nice and flush and smooth. So I got that ground down, and there's what it basically looks like. It came out real nice. I'm happy with it. Don't know how long ash will last, but I'll find out. They make baseball bats out of it. And then I just went back through and I taped everything off and put a coat of orange spray paint on the axe head there, and then I put some clear on the handle, and this is basically what it looks like now, all done. Looks kind of like a brand new axe almost, and I'm real happy because you just can't buy an axe this size anymore. So it turned out that it was really, I enjoyed this project, done with mostly hand tools, and it was a real enjoyable, fun project that did not take too long, and I guess I'll never be afraid to make another axe handle after the experience that I just had making this one. And it's funny how just working up to do a project like this sometimes takes longer than it does to actually do the project, because it took one afternoon, and we've had a lot of heavy rains here lately, so I had an afternoon off, and it turned out to be a pretty fun project. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.